Welcome back to the show. I'm Steve Gramps Towler, and this is Hope Within Reach. I'm really glad you're here. In the last episode, I shared the journey of finding my mom after not seeing her since I was 5 years old. And if you heard that episode, you already know a little bit about what happened when we got to Seattle. Meeting a family we didn't even know existed. And that moment with the red fingernails. But in this episode, I want to take you deeper into what that experience was really like. When my sister and I flew out to Seattle and came face to face with that family. But what we found there didn't just give us answers. It gave us a whole new set of questions. So we flew out to Seattle. We ended up meeting the step family that we never knew we had. And oh my goodness, they were so skeptical of us. It's crazy. But the reason why they even welcomed us in was really compliments of my sister, because once we found more information and the death certificate, and then who signed the death certificate, and that sort of thing, that's what led us to the step family. Well, my sister wanted to be the first one to call them. And she calls this gal, Robin is her name. And the first thing she asked Robin, the very first thing, I just want to know, did she still have her red fingernails and her Pepsi on ice? Okay, and Robin,
yeah.
And
Sorry.
right then and there, Robin knew that we're legit.
Right.
Because 100%, my mom's all about the red fingernails and the Pepsi on ice, all about it. And like
So
who?
Robin was like, "Oh my God, yeah,
Right.
she's
So
got her."
Robin and her husband Mark, they ended up inviting us into their home, and we stayed with them. Had amazing visits. I actually have I have a lot of I have I have a lot of unfinished business around this whole thing of my mother, in that not really closure wise, but just bits and pieces. So, like, I brought with me a micro cassette recorder, okay, and I've got like 14 of these micro cassettes, and I always be like, okay, speaking in the microphone, move the thing a little closer to the people talking, and now I really, I don't even think they play anymore. So one of the so
I
one
have
of
a
the,
micro cassette player if you need to borrow it.
yeah,
Still works.
I have one, but it's like it's just,
Right.
yeah, it's kind of like some of those, characters from Peanuts, when they're talking. Um,
Yeah, the teachers, all the adults. Wah, 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 wah,
exactly,
wah.
exactly. So,
Is your sister? I'm placing your sister as being older than you. Is that right?
yeah, yep, she
Yeah.
is. My sister's 8 years older than me, and so I was 5 when my mom left, and she was 13. And
Wow.
yeah, yeah. Now, Joey, I just want to mention that uh, my sister and I reconnected, and we had just a phenomenal relationship. Um, and Cindy just passed away on September 28th this past year.
I'm
Um,
sorry, buddy.
yeah, thank you so much. Um, you know,
But you guys had a good relationship
oh my
after
gosh,
being. You were estranged for a while after the
we
family split.
we were estranged for a while. We got reconnected as young adults. When I was a young adult, she She was obviously a young adult before I was. Funny
Right.
how that, funny how that works.
Math.
uh, yeah, yeah, and and so, you know, it was, yeah, we had a great relationship, and my sister has three children, and there was a time, gosh, I was probably like really about this time last year that I was like, I said out loud to Kathy, I says, I think I'm really an awful uncle because I don't really have much of a relationship with my niece and my two nephews. And Joey, just it was bizarre, but not long after that, it's actually May 4th, um, that my sister presented at St. John's Hospital with sepsis,
Mm.
and she was intubated for, I want to say 26 or so days. Um, but she lived for a few months after that, and so several months really, May to September. Um, but what ended up happening is I ended up getting becoming super close with my niece and nephews, and and um, and then they let me know they never thought of me that way. So that was nice too.
That's good. Yeah.
That was nice. I just kind of brought that out of myself, I guess.
Well, and you probably it goes into the category of nobody ever thinks as much about us as we think about ourselves.
Yeah, that too, right? Yeah, yeah.
Um, so when you, I mean, I'm just picturing little Stevie Towler there in Northfield, waiting for your mom to pick him up, and she never comes. And then you go on this odyssey that takes you to um, live with relatives, and then eventually your father, I guess. Where just to kind of finish Cindy's story a little bit, where did Cindy go? And she turned. I mean, she ended up kind of having a life, having a good life, and having a family. It sounds like.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. So, yep, she had a very good life. She married, and she yeah, all of her um, you know, she had a couple different husbands, and um,
Sometimes it takes it took my
yep,
mom 3 tries to get it right.
yep, yep,
She finally did.
yeah. Hey, right, absolutely,
Did you
absolutely.
learn anything about your mom that you want to share? Like that, just about who she was and like what
Yeah,
happened or anything, just anything
yeah.
that you want.
So, yeah, thanks for asking. The thing that I learned about my mom uh, on this on this odyssey, as you called it, uh, the so when we went out to Seattle, to Bellevue, we actually visited her work, and on the premises there at Safeway Foods in the is a corporate building where she's at, not like at a one of the stores.
Right.
And and so it turns out that she started in the mailroom when she first got there. That was her entry position, and over the years, she ended up becoming the executive vice president of the joint. And
Wow.
yeah, and so yeah, the one thing that I was told um, is that my mom violated like so many rules of HR, so many rules, because she was like up in everyone's business. And 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 as we were there, one of the people that's like around, he just made the comment. He says, when I look around this room, because I've got a picture of like, I don't know, 10, 12 of us in my mom's office. And And he says, when I look around, everyone your mom surrounded herself with are all the same age as you guys.
Mm.
And so that's what it was so insightful when he said that, because she was so like all about what's going on with these people because really I think, there was a longing that she was wondering what's going on with her own kids,
Yeah.
you know.
And
So yeah.
and did you ever learn or find out anything about what was going on in her life back in 1970, when she decided to not come back from, going out to get a pack of smokes or whatever the old, joke is?
Right, right. I never did hear any of the any detail about that. The one thing the one thing I did get later is I ended up going to my grandma's funeral.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and when I was there, I met some more aunts that I had never met before, and I found out that my mom had just a horrendously horrific stuff go on
Mm.
that's not suited for this interview.
Gotcha.
So yeah, yeah,
She had a tough life.
yeah, yeah,
She had her own
and
struggles.
yeah, and
Our
yeah,
parents, we find out, are you found out earlier than most, are they're just human beings, and it takes like a while for you to realize that if it's not thrust upon you,
yep,
and hopefully you realize it sometime, in your teens or your 20s.
right, right, yeah, 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 for sure. And that hit me in a way I didn't expect because we were learning who she became without us. That moment, that was the moment. It all became real. She wasn't just someone we'd been searching for anymore. She was someone other people knew and remembered. It is with great sadness that we make you aware that Mary Van Pelt has been hospitalized. She is able to only have short visits at this time. Many of us have worked closely with Mary as she has touched all of our lives. And what we were told, Cindy and I, was that this memo had gone out because the hospital was becoming overcrowded with visitors. And I remember thinking, here's a woman so many people showed up for. But 23 years earlier, she had walked away from us. One of those letters came from a man named Jim. And what stood out to me was how honestly he described her. Mary was outspoken, direct, appeared strong, and bigger than life. I remember her wide smile and the life in her eyes. She had hidden battle wounds. She knew pain and knew how to run away from it. Mary was many things. She was very self-serving at times. She was very giving at times. Mary was human. That letter stayed with me because it didn't give me answers. It just gave me a fuller picture of someone I never really got to know. And just recently, I actually reconnected with Jim, and we talked on the phone for the first time in years. And it was a really special moment. Another letter came, and it had a very different tone, a different perspective on who she was. She had a strength about her and a warmth that people were drawn to. But it also felt like she was carrying something from her past. And he had his thoughts, but at the end of the day, they were still just that, his perspective. And I was left holding all of these different views, trying to make sense of who she really was. And then I came across something I had completely forgotten about. A letter I wrote back in 1995 to my Aunt Sandra, right after that trip. Far more beautiful than the state was the family I found there that I never knew existed. I love them dearly, and they've secured a special place in my heart. I'm deeply grieved that I did not find my mom alive. It hurts me to know she likely died with a lot of pain. I wanted to give her a hug, tell her I love her, and most importantly, tell her I forgive her. That was me 31 years ago, trying to make sense of something I still don't fully understand. And then there was something else, something physical, something you could actually see. There was a small memorial right at the exit of the Safeway parking lot where everyone would drive out. A bird bath. It wasn't tucked away. It was right there. Impossible to miss. So every time someone left, they passed right by it. And it had a plaque that said, "In loving memory of Mary Van Pelt, a very special lady who brought out the honey in all of us. Dedicated November 19th, 1993. And I remember standing there, trying to reconcile that, knowing that so many people carried her with them every time they left that place. And I hadn't seen her since I was 5 years old. As I've been putting this episode together, I can't help but think about my sister, Cindy. And with this time of year coming up, I find myself thinking of her even more and wishing she was with me. Because this wasn't just my story. It was ours. Even after finding her, there were still parts of the story I didn't have. There's still more to this story, and in the next episode, I'll share what was happening in my own life during all of this, and how it shaped who I've become. If this episode meant something to you, I'd love for you to follow the show and share it with someone who might need to hear it. Thanks for being here. I'm really glad you are. And remember, hope
is always within reach.